Welcome to my channel. The jet was cruising smooth at 30,000 feet when the first sound broke the rhythm. A strangled word over the intercom, the captain's voice, trembling, then silence. A hiss of oxygen masks dropping from overhead, and then thud. The captain slumped forward against the controls. The nose of the aircraft dipped, the cabin tilted. People screamed as coffee cups and laptops slid off tray tables. Panic filled the pressurized air, and in the chaos, a pair of eyes opened in seat 17A. Hours earlier, it had been nothing but a routine flight. The boarding gate had been crowded with families, businessmen scrolling emails, tourists dragging suitcases heavy with souvenirs. A flight like thousands before it. The hum of engines, the shuffle of passengers squeezing into narrow seats, the casual greetings of flight attendants in crisp uniforms. Nothing unusual, just another journey from one city to another. 17 Alpha, seat 17A, was occupied by a woman pressed against the window, eyes closed, face half hidden by a fall of dark hair. She looked ordinary. No one glanced twice. She didn't chat with the stranger beside her, didn't fumble for the in-flight magazine. She simply rested, a quiet silhouette in the middle of an anonymous row. To the passengers, she was invisible. To the flight crew, she was just another ticketed name. But the sky had other plans. The first tremors were small, just pockets of turbulence, a ripple across the fuselage that drew murmurs and tightened grips on armrests. Then the storm showed its teeth. Thunder cracked so loud it rattled the windows. Lightning lit the cabin in violent flashes, strobes of white and blue. The plane shuddered, dropped, and steadied under the first officer's strained hands. His voice called the tower, but static swallowed the words. No response. The radios went dead. And in the middle of this battle between steel and storm, the captain collapsed, his body deadweight, his headset dangling. The jet veered. Warning alarms blared in the cockpit. Altitude, pressure, stall. The flight attendants shouted, stumbling down the aisle as the plane rocked. Fear became contagious. Parents clutched children. Strangers gripped hands. Somewhere, someone sobbed. Somewhere else, someone prayed. The attendants tried to find help. Is there anyone here who can fly? Their voices cracked with desperation. Passengers looked around, helpless, shaking their heads. Panic spread faster than oxygen. And then, movement from row 17. A woman rose, calm where others trembled. She stepped into the aisle, steadying herself against the lurch of the plane. Her eyes weren't panicked. They were focused, sharp, cutting through the chaos like blades. Without a word, she moved toward the cockpit. Hands brushed against her shoulders as passengers tried to stop her. She shook them off. She reached the door, pushed past the attendants, and entered the storm's heart. The co-pilot turned, wide-eyed. "Ma'am, you can't move." Her voice wasn't a request, it was an order. The first officer hesitated only a moment before sliding aside, as if something in her tone carried authority he couldn't question. She strapped herself into the captain's seat. The leather creaked. Her hands fell on the yoke like they belonged there. Fingers brushed the throttles, scanning instruments. Warning lights screamed red, but her breathing was steady. Muscle memory took over. Outside the window, lightning split the clouds into jagged wounds. Inside, the alarms kept wailing. Cabin pressure, oxygen, altitude. The jet shuddered in crosswinds, tilting dangerously. Passengers gasped with each drop, each lurch, but her grip never faltered. She rolled the nose up, adjusted trim, fought the storm head-on. The massive commercial jet responded, sluggish but obedient, like a beast recognizing its master. The co-pilot could only stare. His voice cracked as he asked, Who are you?" Her eyes stayed on the horizon, knuckles tightening around the yoke. She whispered, not to him, not to anyone, but to herself. 17 Alpha, always in the fight. And the words hit him like a revelation. He remembered a name, a legend whispered in pilot circles, a call sign carried in stories of impossible missions. 17 Alpha. Once, she had flown combat sorties over hostile skies, F-16s that danced between missile locks, barrel rolls through anti-air fire, missions where her squad should have died, but didn't because she was in the lead. Her reputation was ghost-like. Pilots said she could pull maneuvers physics had no right to allow, that she saved squadrons with moves no simulator could replicate. She had vanished from service years ago. Some said grief drove her out after losing a wingman. Others said she simply disappeared. And now, here she was, sitting in 17A on a commercial jet. The storm clawed at the aircraft, but her instincts didn't waver. One engine sputtered, coughing flame. Avionics flickered. The co-pilot struggled to keep systems online, sweat dripping from his brow. She didn't flinch. Every motion was precise. Throttle adjustments, pitch corrections, wing leveling against the screaming winds. This wasn't flying for her. This was fighting. The cabin behind them was a theater of terror. Children crying, strangers clutching each other, silence broken by sobs. None of them knew who held their lives in her hands. To them, she was just a passenger. To the storm, she was something else entirely. The clouds broke just enough for a glimpse of salvation. A runway, slick with rain, lined with emergency vehicles. Fire trucks' lights spun like beacons, red and white against the downpour. The jet screamed as its wheels lowered, hydraulics groaning under the strain. Alarms barked warnings. Crosswinds slammed the fuselage sideways. The ground rushed closer. She tightened her grip, jaw clenched, voice low and steady. "Come on, stay with me." And the jet obeyed. The landing gear struck wet asphalt, hard, the entire cabin jolting forward. Tires screeched, smoke mixing with rain as the aircraft hydroplaned. For one breathless eternity, it seemed the jet would veer, would collapse under the weight of storm and steel. But then, stability. The nose leveled, brakes roared. The behemoth slowed, slid, and finally stopped. For a moment there was silence. Then the cabin erupted. Applause, sobs of relief. Passengers hugging strangers as if they'd known them forever. Flight attendants collapsing into tears. A storm survived, a miracle witnessed. She unbuckled, pulled off the oxygen mask, and rose from the captain's seat. No victory smile, no words. Just a steady breath as she stepped past the co-pilot, past the stunned attendants, back into the cabin. Every set of eyes turned to her, wide with gratitude and disbelief. She didn't meet them. She walked straight down the aisle, head lowered, as if she had done nothing at all. And when the doors finally opened, she disappeared into the rain. No interviews, no applause, no one even knew her name. Only that in seat 17A sat the woman who saved them all. Heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they sit quietly beside us, unnoticed, until the world calls them back into the fight. The woman in 17A was proof of it. Ordinary masks legends. Never underestimate the stranger beside you. If you want more untold stories of hidden warriors, of legends disguised as ordinary people, hit subscribe, because somewhere out there, another storm is waiting. And so was another seat with a hero we haven't met yet.